The content you are about to ingest is for mature audiences only. Human written, voiced by AI. Welcome to Bella Vita, Tales of Sidori Island Part 1. Trigger warnings such as cheating, dubious consent, BDSM, secret society, abduction, female revenge, mild torture, and many other kinks and fetishes may occur throughout the story. If you aren't into weird shit, you reserve the option to press stop at any time. If you like weird shit and wish to continue, sit back, do nothing, and enjoy. Episode 8, Dan's Private Network.
RTP chants can be heard echoing off the sides of buildings across campus. Over half of the men and women protesters are in favor of the program, while a small but growing community of men and women are in protest against it. On the way to Mia's dorm room, Alana walks in between two protesters on opposite sides reading their signs. One female student holds a sign reading, "The RTP program is misogynistic," while the lady across from her sign reads, "Massaging his dick is not misogynistic." Alana shakes her head and laughs to herself as she walks into the lobby of the dorm. She hears students' conversations all around the lobby about the protests outside. She overhears a student talking about another student claiming she thought she jerked off her brother, and they were 100% compatible. The crowd of students laugh and say, "No way," as a young man interrupts and asks the question, "What if it really happened?"
What if it really happened?
The laughter stops and fades away from Alana's ears as she enters the line of New Reality Dispensary and Coffee Shop located on the other side of the lobby. The students refer to it as nerds. While in line, Alana thinks about the poor girl that thought or didn't think she jerked her brother off. Her mind quickly goes back into focus. She thinks about what she is going to tell Mia after she rushed her out of her apartment after dinner. Also as to why she hasn't answered any of her calls or responded to her texts. A web of lies began to conjoin inside of Alana's brain, until Jared at the register cut them by asking Alana if she wanted to try the Nerdtopia Special Brew. It's 11% THC, 11% CBD, 11% psilocybin, and 11% alcohol. Comes in a 4-ounce cup. Jared suggests she should try it if she doesn't have anywhere important to be. Alana tells him no thank you. She orders 2 black magic agaves with a splash of truth serum. Jared yells to the brewmaster, 2 black with agave and a shot of 251. Jared focuses his attention back onto Alana and asks her would she like any RTP creamer for an upcharge. Alana places her hand out in front of her, waving and saying no thank you simultaneously. She adds he can hold all of the cream. Jared insists it's a fresh batch. She shakes her head and taps her ID to pay as the brewmaster places her drinks on the counter. They exchange their good days, and Alana makes her way to the elevator. "Damn, that was quick," Alana mumbles to herself under the sound of the elevator ding. Room 319 was close to the end of the hall. Alana passes room 304 and hears a girl crying and begging a guy named Marcus not to break up with her for sleeping with someone named Preston at a party. She's not sure if it's a first or last name because the bass coming from room 309 made it difficult to hear. Alana stands in front of room 319 and stares at the door. She takes a few deep breaths, raises her hand, and just as she attempts to knock, the door swings open, followed by "Get in, bitch," and a coffee being snatched out of the carrier. Mia harshly closes the door behind Alana and asks what she wants as she takes a sip of her coffee. Alana sets her coffee on the table next to Mia's bed, takes off her yellow sweater, placing it on the bed, and sits down on the side of the bed next to her sweater. She grabs her coffee, looks up at Mia and says she's sorry for ignoring her and rushing her out of the house after dinner. Mia has a blank stare. Alana continues saying that she had a lot going on and didn't know how to process it. Mia's blank stare changes to confusion when she asks Alana for more clarification on what she means as she questions if the professor failed her or something. Alana looks down for a few seconds, takes a sip of her coffee, and blurts out she thinks she cheated on Jason. Mia's eyes get big and she sits down next to Alana, placing her hand on Alana's thigh, questioning Alana. Who, what, where, when, how, why, wait. Mia immediately interrogates Alana if she slept with the professor. Was it good? And if he has a big dick? Alana responds no. No, and she doesn't know. Mia pulls her hand back from touching Alana, takes a sip of her coffee, and says she's confused. Alana sets her coffee down on the table, reaches in the pocket of her sweater, and tells Mia to hold out her hand. Alana places a device in Mia's hand. Mia grabs hold, putting it up to her face, inspecting it, and asks what it is. Suddenly it vibrates and Alana confirms it's a vibrator. Mia drops the vibrator without hesitation onto the floor. Alana mentions it's clean, as she bends down to pick it up off of the floor. Mia looks at Alana and in a stern voice commands Alana to say fuck what Jason says. Reassures her that masturbating isn't cheating and he can't control her body. Alana smiles and shakes her head while holding the vibrator. She tells Mia the vibrator is what was in the box and shows her the remote. Mia's voice remains serious as she accuses Dr. Strictland of being freaky and asks if he will be teaching next semester. Mia begins to put the pieces together and her face goes from playful serious to shock. Mia alleges to Alana, Dr. Strictland had the remote to the vibrator, made her wear it while he was with his wife and Jason. Excitement flows from Mia's voice as she concludes her theory. Alana gulps the last swig of her black magic. She smiles at Mia and asks is she finished. Mia asks with uncertainty if she slept with Dr. Strictland after dinner because she is trying to figure out when, where, and how she cheated. Alana reaches for her phone from her sweater pocket. Mia warns her that if she is going to grab another sex toy, she can keep it to herself. Alana laughs while unlocking her phone and tells Mia to read her text message thread. Alana stares as Mia swallows her last bit of coffee, sets her mug on her desk just seconds before her jaw drops. Mia's eyes go back and forth from the phone to making direct eye contact with Alana. Alana cuts through the silence while Mia continues to read. She confesses half of her feels shame, while the other half enjoyed thinking it was Dr. Strictland in the moment. When she learned it was Christina, it added another dimension of confused emotions. Mia suddenly gasps and alerts Alana that Christina is typing. Alana reaches for her phone and Mia pulls away looking at the phone. She tells Alana Christina has sent a link. During Alana's final attempt to secure her phone, Mia taps the link.
Welcome to Dan's private network. You have been cordially invited to attend Ragefest weekend at the Citadel Spa and Retreat. Your arrival time is 7 p.m. to 7:05 p.m. tonight at the south entrance. Special measures are in place to ensure full anonymity. Punctuality is an important part of the process. Guests are only granted access within their arrival window. If a guest misses their arrival window, they will not be permitted on the premises and asked to leave. If you wish to accept the invitation, you will be prompted to download the DPN app and given an access code. Once inside the app, you will be asked to use your phone's camera to submit a photo. Our artificial intelligence software will provide you with an avatar to choose from based on your facial structure. List any tattoos or noticeable physical features you want the AI to manipulate. Once complete, you will receive a package to your location within the hour. The package contains our AR glasses, used to conceal our guest's identity. The glasses are part of the DPN network. The glasses only work for the intended operator. Your information and access clearance is assigned to your glasses. Guests are required to wear their glasses in private mode at all times. While wearing the glasses, private mode only allows the avatar you pick to be visible to other guests wearing their glasses. Whatever face you decide is the face others see while wearing the glasses, and no other information is shared. Guests level 4 and 5 are granted permission to bring a +1. You, Alana Winters, have been granted level 4 access. If you decide on a +1, you will be prompted to follow the process of taking their photo. Our AI will run a background check to determine approval. If approved, they will be asked to choose their avatar, and a second pair of glasses will be sent to your location within the hour. You have 7 minutes to RSVP, or your time slot will be given away. Punctuality and anonymity is very important to DPN. Your time starts now. Tap yes to accept or no to reject.
Alana reaches and grabs her phone from Mia. Mia hands it over with little fight and mentions to Alana the app is 97% downloaded. Alana shrieks what? As she looks down at her phone reading download complete. She looks up at Mia and asks what she did. Mia nonchalantly admits she read faster than the recording and tapped yes and accepted. Alana sits with a blank stare. Mia gestures to her to hurry up and follow the prompt to take her picture so she can take hers. She wants to see if she is approved to be a +1. Alana's heart rate increases as she asks Mia if she realizes what she did. Mia says confidently, she does and she can't wait to go to Ragefest weekend and find her a cute avatar to match her outfit. Mia takes Alana's phone while it's resting in her hand on her lap. She turns the phone to Alana's face to unlock it using the facial recognition. Mia opens the camera app and tells Alana to smile as she takes her picture. She ignores Alana, who is still staring off into space and mumbling. What has Mia done? What is she going to do? What is she going to wear as she taps yes to +1? Mia types Mia Santos and snaps a picture of herself. She stands up, tosses the phone on the bed and tells Alana to get her shit together because they need to pick out their outfits for the Ragefest.
Portia knocks on the doorframe of Mercedes' bedroom. She watches her while she places her evening's outfit onto the bed. Mercedes' back is turned to the doorway. Her Merlot-colored robe is covered in droplets of water from her freshly washed hair touching the middle of her back. Portia knocks again. Mercedes starts to wind her hips and sing. Portia walks into the room, and just as she reaches to tap Mercedes on the shoulder, Mercedes turns around and jumps from being startled. Mercedes lightly pushes Portia on her shoulder and calls her a bitch. She reaches in her ears and removes her earphones. Portia pleads she was trying to get her attention. Mercedes accuses Portia of trying to scare her. Portia denies the allegations and asks Mercedes how she felt about how the things went the night before with Amber. Mercedes turns around and moves her outfit close to the headboard, and the twins sit down on the bed.
Mercedes has a serious look on her face. She takes a deep breath, and in a stern tone, she accuses Amber of being a diabolical bitch. Mercedes can't keep a straight face any longer, so she lets out a laugh and Portia follows behind. The twins reminisce at the look on Mark's face during the video montage. Mercedes congratulates Portia on the quick thinking of sending Amber to release Trevor to get her out of the house. Portia agrees, making reference to Amber getting him into that situation in the first place. Mercedes' smile turned to bewilderment as she questions Portia's look when she mentioned Trevor's name. Mercedes alleges Portia of liking Trevor. Portia acknowledges to Mercedes she was turned on watching Trevor and Rose having sex from the cameras Rose placed inside of the room. Adding when she had gotten to the Imperial Suite she was already worked up and had the task of managing his massive cock and feeling it throb in her hands. Portia concludes the cherry on top was at Mr. Lang's house watching Trevor's nut videos. Mercedes nods her head in affirming Trevor's nut videos were really good. They were good.
Portia asks Mercedes if she's nervous about their first Ragefest. In a confident tone, she asserts they have already prevented a major disaster within the organization. By Amber accepting the $1.2 million payout, given her evidence of Mark's infidelity, she gets to ride off into the sunset with Trevor and live happily ever after. Portia interrupts and says Amber can ride off into the sunset alone. Portia inquires if Trevor is working Ragefest even though he had a rough day at work the day before. Mercedes stares at Portia in silence and shakes her head. Portia stands up and tells Mercedes she's going to get Trevor one day. Mercedes wishes her good luck. On the way out of the room, Portia tells Mercedes she was going to continue her stretches before their meeting in a few hours. As she walks out of the door, Mercedes compliments her on how her thick thighs and booty looks good in her pink leggings. Portia sticks her head back into the room, expressing how nice Mercedes' smooth thick thighs look. She advises Mercedes to put on clothes because she can see her not so smooth bush. Mercedes closes her legs, pulls down the bottom of her robe and gives Portia the finger.
Congratulations and welcome to Jojo's Power Syndicate. By receiving this notification, it means you have passed all tests and met the proper requirements to be part of a prestigious organization. You, alongside 10 others, have the opportunity of a lifetime to experience power and pleasure while making money. Your welcome kit with more information and instructions shall arrive within the hour. Take this time to reflect and feel confident and proud about your accomplishment.
Rose sits up, smiles, and places her phone down on the nightstand next to her bed. She's excited that her hard work has finally paid off. Being a part of Jojo's syndicate means she no longer has to take the bus because she gets her own driver. Suddenly her excitement turns into discontent when she thinks about what she did to Trevor. Being jacked up on adrenaline the day prior left zero room for emotion. Now that everything has settled, she begins sobbing thinking about what happened to Trevor after she left. She can only imagine what happened when she passed the twins walking into the elevator carrying a duffel bag as she was exiting. Rose feels it's an honor to be a part of the syndicate when all the participants are willing, but she's not so sure if Trevor wanted any parts of what the twins had to offer. In between Rose's tears, glimmers of her and Trevor's Imperial Suite experience pop into her head, forcing an internal debate. She wonders if sacrificing him and his dick was worth everything she's about to receive. As the previous day plays through her mind, her lustful thoughts of Trevor disappear and Marco appears in his place. Rose slides back down into the bed. She closes her eyes and envisions herself as the mystery woman chained to the wall. The mystery woman with the name Rebecca tattooed under her boob becomes Marco. Marco takes her place chained to the chair just like she was. Rose mixes in a twist to her daydream. She adds Trevor also chained to a chair sitting next to Marco. Rose imagines having little holes in the hood covering her face so she can see Marco and Trevor sitting naked with their sweaty, muscular, sculpted bodies getting hard. She pretends they watch her get taken advantage of by the mystery woman she calls Rebecca. Rose rubs the outside of her panties as she vividly recalls the smell of Marco's cologne mixed with his sweat. She assumed his seductive pheromones were at their peak as he drove her home the night before. Rose imagines every time Rebecca does something to her, their dicks jump with excitement. Rose starts to violently rub as she thinks about Rebecca using the tulip on her, and as soon as she grabs the bat-shaped dildo, Marco and Trevor break free from the chains and begin taking advantage of her. Trevor dives in head first and eats her pussy while she watches Marco punish Rebecca from the back as both women scream from intense pleasure. Rose's moans bounce off the walls of her empty apartment as the fast side-to-side movements of her hand force fluid to build up. In one smooth motion, she kicks the blanket off, pulls her panties to the side and squirts. She continues rubbing to come for a second time, imagining Marco and Trevor switching, taking turns on her and Rebecca. She tells Marco to free her so she can get her revenge on Rebecca. Marco places his foot on the wall, gathering leverage. All Rose could see through the hood was Marco's large veined dick reaching his mid-thigh as she hears him rip the chains from the wall. Arlo interrupts and announces someone is at the door. Rose stops in disappointment. Breathing heavily, she looks at her phone to see who it is. No one is there, only a box. She places her phone back down, rolls over with her thigh landing in the wet spot, gets out of bed and walks to the apartment door. In her underwear, Rose cracks open the door, sticks her head out and makes sure no one is in the hallway. She opens the door completely, props it open with her foot, steps one foot into the hallway and reaches down to pick up the box. She attempts to pick up the box, but it's too heavy. Rose abruptly pushes open the door and jumps on the other side of the box. She bends over with her ass pointed to the ceiling and pushes the box into the apartment. Shutting the door with her foot, she continues to push the box 15 more steps across the hardwood floors. She shimmies the box onto a small area rug in front of the couch. An out-of-breath Rose commands Arlo to play the before, during, and after-hours playlist. She walks into the kitchen, grabs a knife and sits down next to the box. Rose uses the knife to open the box. She looks inside the box, and before she can absorb the contents of the box, her phone's notification chimes. She identifies that she has a voice note. Rose commands Arlo to turn down the volume as she taps to listen to her message.
Hi, this is Jojo. Welcome to Jojo's Power Syndicate. By accepting the contents of this box, you are in agreement to be a part of the syndicate. Jojo's Power Syndicate is about honor, integrity, hard work, and dedication. It's going the extra mile, leadership, and being there for one another. These are all qualities we want within the syndicate. As a member, it means you have power and are in control. Power is the ability to say no to the things you don't want to do. Along with power comes responsibility. You have a duty to keep your identity and this network's identity private. Anyone found to be disloyal to the syndicate or network will be subject to severe consequences.
Rose pauses the recording and thinks about Rebecca from the dungeon. She puts two and two together on why there was a change of plans and the reason she was being questioned. Everything is beginning to make sense to Rose, concluding Rebecca was disloyal. Rose presses play and continues with the syndicate terms and conditions.
All syndicate members are granted level 5 access, which allows your experiences to have endless possibilities. You have complimentary access to all the diamond-ranked hotels, restaurants, and spas on the island. Included is premier airport lounge access. You are permitted a +1 for Ragefest and Ragefest on the water, the 11-day, 11-night soiree on the seas. Also inside of the box alongside your syndicate apparel is a $250,000 signing bonus if you choose to accept the terms and conditions. By accepting, you consent to the lifestyle of syndicate members and refuse legal action against Dan's private network and their affiliates. Feel free to take up to 1 hour to determine if this life is for you.
Without taking any time to think things over, Rose taps accept.
Thank you for joining JoJo's Power Syndicate. The next video will instruct you on how to set up your DPN glasses. Welcome to the network and rage responsibly.
This episode of Bella Vita Tales of Sidori Island Part 1 is sponsored by...
Here's the plot. A serial killer's last victim survives and is rescued and treated by the best first responder team in the city. The victim is treated at the hospital by a world-renowned doctor who learns the victim has a rare disease. While the police force and FBI are searching for the serial killer, the hospital staff and doctor race to find a cure for the rare disease of the lone survivor of a serial killer. Suddenly, a terrorist plot on the hospital is uncovered and a special ops unit has to intervene before the hospital is destroyed, and the doctor never finds a cure for the lone survivor of the serial killer who the cops need as a witness to help find out who it is. That's their network series plots, not ours. You can clearly tell, over here we ain't them, and they ain't us. Bella Vita Tales of Sidori Island Part 1 isn't just a story, it's an experience. And for those who want to take the potion and go deeper, to uncover the secrets behind the scenes, there's only one place to do it: Patreon. When you subscribe, you get ad-free early access to episodes, exclusive character details, and behind-the-scenes content that takes you inside the mind of the creator. Think of it as your all-access pass to the world of Bella Vita. Visit patreon.com/The Felix Network and join us. Because over here, we are something different.
Balled-up tissue is on the floor next to the couch, which is next to the chair where Trevor is sitting. He's staring at Amber sleeping with her back to him. He could hear her crying throughout the night. He contemplates waking her up. He reaches his hand out to touch her shoulder and quickly pulls it back. Trevor inhales deeply and stands up. Muffled speech followed by sniffles comes from the couch. Trevor leans in to make out what Amber is saying. With only her hair bun visible, she moves the blanket slightly from covering her face and tells Trevor she's sorry. Trevor sits back down. Amber adds that she never meant to hurt him, but when she found out her husband Mark had another family, she wanted revenge and it was wrong to use him and his body.
Amber rolls over, removing her head completely from under the blanket. She wipes her nose with tissue balled tightly in her hand. Trevor looks into her eyes as she explains she and Mark had trouble conceiving together. They were waiting on the government's RTP program to approve the saliva solution that improves women's fertility rates. Trevor touches the arm of the couch close to her head and says he forgives her because he didn't mind being used as a sexual tool for revenge. To him, it was worth it. Amber apologizes to Trevor for possibly ruining his chance with Rose, admitting she knows he really likes her. I know you like Rose. As Amber sits straight up with the blanket covering her and her legs still on the couch. Trevor divulges he likes money more.
I like money more.
Amber asks him was it worth it being tied up naked to a chair. Trevor reverses the question and asks Amber, was it worth it finding him naked tied to a chair? Amber smiles and says she always enjoys looking at him naked and what she had him doing around the house was all business. But when she saw him in the Imperial Suite, it felt personal to her. She declares she was filled with so much rage after exposing her husband Mark. Admitting to Trevor, when she saw him helpless, her angry rage turned into a lustful rage and she wanted to fuck the shit out of him and leave with the $1.2 million never to be seen again. Trevor smiles and admits he would have been no good because Rose and the twins drained everything out of him.
Amber scoffs and looks away from Trevor. Other than the hum of the refrigerator in the next room, silence fills the air. Trevor informs Amber he has a $1.2 million question. He asks how she feels about Joanne St. Clair greeting them as they got out of the elevator and offering them jobs to be part of Dan's private network. Amber imparts she was surprised and not surprised at the same time. She says she always felt Dan Hoff was a little cringe outside of his work. She started to hear rumors through a blog about his behind-the-scene antics. And what really threw her for a loop was finding out how Shady Joe was able to keep her prices low. Amber closes her eyes and drops her head in shame, expressing how hard it was learning Shady Joe is behind all of Mark's infidelity, their lifestyle, and worst of all, finding out she was in one of his humiliation videos. Amber proclaims she accepted Mark's little dick. She raises her head and smiles at Trevor, telling him, thanks to him, she got Mark back good. Trevor bites his lips and takes a deep breath while shaking his head. Just as he was about to speak, Amber asks him what he would have done if he had found her naked tied to a chair. She urges him to be honest. He communicates the first thing he would do is feel bad for getting her in that situation. He says he would have thought of all of the ways he could make it up to her, as in sharing some of the 1.2 million. Trevor exposes, once he enters the room and finds her naked, the situation changes. He claims his first reaction would be to make sure she is okay. He tells Amber he would untie her and guide her to the shower. Trevor believes a hot bath in the jetted tub, infused with lavender and hibiscus, would help relieve any stress she might have suffered during the overly stimulating torture session. Trevor shakes his head and looks off into the distance and reveals the twins were highly skilled and trained to get anything out of him they wanted, so he could only imagine what they would have done to her. He suggests it would be best if he got into the tub along with her for emotional support. Trevor turns his head, looking back at Amber, and continues. Trevor says while he's bathing her, getting the hard-to-reach areas, he would inform Arlo they need new sheets, water, a basket of fruit, and a massage table with essential oils. Trevor recites the suite's 3M motto, Imperial Suite, impeccable timing, impressive results. Amber laughs while Trevor infers, by the time he is finished giving her a bath, his requests would have been fulfilled. Trevor watches Amber's blue eyes disappear behind her eyelids as she bites her lip, letting out a soft moan. He goes on mentioning after he dries her body, he would carry her to the massage table. Trevor reminds Amber he is a maintenance man and his job is to fix things. Amber opens her eyes and sees Trevor grabbing the outside of his gray pajama pants. She knows the shape of his dick when she sees it, as its print bulges underneath the thin material. They stare at each other in the eye. Trevor instructs Arlo to increase the temperature by 5 degrees. Amber listens as Trevor dives deep into the science of lubrication. He explains how stress can dry out the skin, so it is important to him to lubricate every crevice on her body. He educates her on how energy flows from the ground up, so starting at her feet is a must. The two never break eye contact. Amber removes the blanket from around her and places it beside her. She puts a knee up on the couch, revealing her blue panties. Trevor's eyes look down between Amber's legs, watching her hand move underneath her underwear. Trevor sticks his hand through the front hole of his pajama pants and speaks of an effective way to apply oil to the feet. He struggles to pull out what he calls his oil application wand. The stiffness caused the head to get stuck on the flaps of the pajamas opening. The moment Trevor's dick pops out, Amber lets out a sultry moan. Trevor spits in the palm of his hand and begins stroking his dick, explaining how his oil application wand not only works on feet, but all over the body, especially in the hard-to-reach places. He concludes the most important fact about the oils used is the pleasurable tingling sensation they provide when activated by saliva. Trevor reveals the tongue is necessary to aid in the body's recovery.
Amber removes her hand from her panties, planting both of her feet on the floor. She raises her hips and removes her panties. She takes her warm, damp panties and throws them at Trevor's feet, landing on his slipper. Amber brings both of her feet back onto the couch, tastes her fingers, and continues to play with herself, this time moaning louder. She maintains eye contact with Trevor, occasionally dropping her eyes to monitor his slow strokes. Amber uses one hand to spread her lips and her other hand's middle finger to periodically slip in and out of her, adding lubrication to the tip of her finger. Trevor's thumb periodically swipes the tip of his dick as he applies the pre-cum to add lubrication. In between Trevor's grunts and groans, Amber alludes to her having a hard time resisting the urge to gobble his dick when he was making the videos for her. Trevor implies the first time he came on the toothbrush for her, he was tempted to come on her face.
I was tempted to.
Amber rubs vigorously and tells him he can do it now if he wants to. You can do it now. Trevor strokes faster, standing up, moving in the direction of Amber. Amber lets out an orgasmic moan, interrupted by an unexpected knock at the door, stealing Trevor's attention. His misdirected load lands on Amber's knee and his t-shirt she is wearing. He shakes the remainder of the semen onto the area rug in front of the couch, with some drops landing on the bottom of the couch. Trevor has a confused look, claiming he doesn't know who's at his door.
I don't know who that is.
He puts his dick back through the pajama hole. Amber takes her finger and swipes a glob of Trevor's cum from her knee, putting her finger into her mouth while he looks through the peephole. Amber swallows before she inquires who it is. Who is it? She notices a confused look on Trevor's face. He opens the door and says it's no one. It's just a 2x1x1 box.
Trevor picks up the box from the hallway and closes the door. Amber continues her process of cleaning the remaining cum off of her leg before placing both of her feet onto the floor, inquiring more into the contents of the box. Trevor sets the box down on the floor in front of the couch. He goes into the drawer of the end table next to the chair and pulls out a box cutter and sits down next to Amber. He uses the box cutter to open the box and places it on the end table. Trevor looks inside the box. He notices a tablet, 2 pairs of glasses, and some clothes. Amber leans over to inspect what's inside the box. Trevor picks up the tablet. It dings and the screen lights up. Amber sees the tablet and makes reference to it being one of Mark's designs. Trevor could tell by her tone she wasn't too pleased to see anything that reminded her of Mark. The word welcome above a play button appeared on the screen. Amber leans forward and reaches over Trevor's arm and taps play.
Welcome and thank you for joining Dan's private network. This is Joanne St. Clair, also known as Shady Joe, but in this network you can call me Jojo. The two of you have been tasked with developing a team to add women clientele to the DPN network. You will work closely and intimately together to make sure the women clients receive ultimate satisfaction. Your compensation will be well worth the work. The interactions and connections you make with clients is priceless and can be very rewarding or damaging, as we learned recently, which brought us here to this beautiful point in time. Trevor, your body is a gift from the heavens. Having the fortunate pleasure of watching you in action was a blessing in itself.
Amber rubs Trevor's back in agreement with Jojo's statements as the pair continues absorbing Jojo's welcome message.
Amber, your cunning acts and lust for revenge is exactly what is needed within the network to make sure the clients are disturbingly pleasured. Mark loves to be humiliated and you humiliated him. I was up with him all night on the phone and he couldn't fight the conundrum his body was going through, so I humiliated him about being humiliated and he expressed to me he had never came like he came.
Trevor looks over at Amber's stoic expression as Jojo compliments her fiendish actions.
Portia and Mercedes, the twins you both had the luxury of meeting, were pleased with how both of you handled your situations. The stars have aligned for us to come together. Unfortunately, you two are the first members within the network to learn. Tonight, at the Ragefest, I will be announcing my retirement from the network.
Trevor and Amber look at each other in confusion.
My successor ironically goes by the name Dom. She's young, vibrant, intelligent, and attractive. She's everything I was when I developed this network. I, alongside others including Mark, have built an empire. I believe that both of you alongside Dom will take it to the next level and beyond. I will retain 33% of the profits for the next 2 years and reduce it to 15% thereafter. When I'm gone, the remaining 15% will be placed in the DPN Trust and Pension Fund for all workers within the network to receive retirement pay. Lastly, in conjunction with syncing your glasses to your phones, network affiliates and syndicate members are required to provide a full-body 360-degree nude photo for our records. A full frontal, full rear and both full profile views are needed to complete your process in joining the DPN network. Photos must be uploaded within the hour of receiving this message. Thank you again for joining this exclusive organization.
On the next episode of Bella Vita.
Guests prepare for Ragefest. It's only hours away, and tension is already brewing when the whole team assembles in the conference room. Dan and Jojo reunite after some time apart. Shady Joe shows just how shady she is when enemies come face to face, literally. Trevor and Rose see each other for the first time since their rendezvous in the Imperial Suite that left both of them tied up. An unexpected person joins the team to help Ragefest run smoothly.